All right. Hello, knockouts. Tonya Tko here. And guess what we're doing today? We are having the abortion debate to end all other debates. So we're going to hash it out live. You know what? We're going to give the system a few moments to catch up with us because it's running a little bit behind we are. So, since we're jumping into it, what we're doing today is we are having the abortion debate to end all other debates. I'm going to open up the phone lines and we are going to discuss Roe versus Wade, the heartbeat bill. We're going to put all of our best arguments on the table. And after today, it is going to be finito, finale. We're going to hash it out today and we're going to come to a conclusion. All right? So I want everybody to go get themselves their popcorn or their glass of wine or your inhaler, whatever it is that you need to get ready for this debate tonight. All right? So, let me first. So, welcome in everybody. Come on in. Come on in. Welcome in everybody. Welcome in. All right. So, we're going to get started and we are going to okay, wine, cheese and bread. That's good. That's good. So, let's talk about it. Yesterday we came out and the broadcast got cut off before we could jump into everything. And that's fine. You know, we had some people come out with some very deep and personal sharings. We had people come out with some controversial points of views, and we had people who were really kind of teetering on the fence. Today, I'm going to implore people on both sides of the argument to come out, call in, and speak up for what it is that you believe in, okay? So we're going to be doing pro-life and pro-choice, and we're going to jump into what it is that we know and what it is that we are going to talk about today. All right. Okay. So yes. So people are talking about the hair. I tried finger waves for the first time. It's not perfect, but I tried it, and here it is. So I tried it. I tried. All right. So the phone lines are 323-488-3149. It is in the title of the video. So my argument is this, and I spent a lot of time tossing and turning last night thinking about this, right? So I'm going to present my argument to you, and then what we're going to do is I'm going to open up the phone lines for you to come and either present your own argument or debate my argument, all right? All right. So come on. So we're going to talk about because there were a lot of people yesterday who were like, "Oh, that's what happens when you have sex. You need to keep your legs closed and all this, that, and the other," right? And my argument is this, right? There are a lot of men who, and I think that the denial of women, denying women reproductive rights is in men's interest because it's only through a woman's body that a man can be able to continue his genetic pool. It's only through a woman. He has to go through a woman. And there are men out there who don't want to do the part of being a father or caretaker for the child. However, he still wants his DNA out there. Future the rapper is one of those people because he was talking about his legacy. He has like almost 7 children. And he was talking about his legacy, but meanwhile, he's not helping to raise any of his children, right? So the only thing that he considers his legacy is his last name. And that's something that can be changed or not even added on the birth certificate. So let's talk about it, right? A woman is fertile. Let's talk about how babies are made. A woman, so you know, a woman has a cycle. So this is the cycle right here. The cycle varies from woman to woman and lasts about 28 days, 28, 30, anywhere from 25 to 30 days, depending on the woman, right? Okay. This is the bottom of the cycle right here with that's menstruation right there. And on the other side of it is ovulation. So we're going to put a nice happy egg waiting to, so that's the egg right there, traveling out of the out of the oh goodness, my little happy egg made me lose my train of thought. Traveling down the canal to see if it's going to implant itself in the uterus, to see if it's going to become impregnated. So it traveled through the fallopian tube. Here is the happy egg, right? So this happy egg takes a journey that lasts about 4 days. So a woman is only fertile for about 4 days out of the month. Men, on the other hand. So here is a man. Here is his, you know what that is right there. And inside of here are millions of little sperm. Millions. Those are millions right there. You see the little tails, the wiggly ones, right? Millions of them. The male orgasm, every time the man orgasms, he shoots out millions of sperm. Whereas a woman, fertilization of a woman is not dependent on her orgasm. So people are like, oh, women shouldn't have sex, women shouldn't this, women shouldn't that. Women have sex each and every day. However, it's only through the man's ejaculation at this specific time right here that causes the pregnancy, right? Each and every time a man climaxes, he climaxes out the building blocks for human life. Whereas on the other hand, when a woman climaxes, she does not release an egg every time she climaxes. So this is my argument right here. This is my argument. And I read this argument on a vlog once, and I thought it made a lot of sense. So I'm going to share it with you all, and I want to hear your point of view. Okay? If we had a vasectomy for every boy child that was born, that would cut out the unwanted pregnancy rate for good. There would be no unwanted pregnancies, right? And there may be some people out there who are like, but Tonya, that's so cruel. How could you perform a procedure on a baby, right? On a baby boy. They perform procedures on baby boys every time a baby is born, right? Because remember, look, this is going to be, well, maybe if it's a baby's, it should be a little smaller than that. Your camera draw a little smaller than that. Okay. So this is a baby when it comes out, right? Let's do the little, and then the little hole right there, right? And they perform an irreversible procedure on baby boys, chopping off that foreskin for good. Whereas a vasectomy is reversible. When he comes of age and he decides that he wants to procreate, then at that point, because if you really think about it, right, there are two different schools of thoughts that exist out there in the dating world, right? And the train of thought that they teach men, right? Go, get, conquer, lay, smash, right? And the train of thought that they pump and pummel into young girls is, I saw a girl on the broadcast yesterday who was like, my daughter is 24 and she's still pure. I was like, pure? What are you talking about? Pure virginity, innocence, say no, legs closed. But there isn't that same campaign on the other side, because males are the ones who shoot out the building blocks for life each and every time that they ejaculate. So we're so used to being in oh, chastity, that's another good one, thank you. We're so used to being in the realm where we control women's bodies that it doesn't even occur to people. Look, the birth control has been on the market for hundreds of years. They've been figuring out ways to control birth. And not even till this day have they come up with a way for men. They're still working, they're still claiming that they're starting to make realistic efforts into getting it done, right? But even to this day, there is no way for a man to be able to control his seed, right? So, males, for the most part, are the ones who are taught to go out there. And that's another one. Wait till marriage. I'm going to do wait to W2M, wait to marriage, right? So we're constantly telling men to go out there, go do it, do it, do this, go get it, smash, trick her, do this, get it in any way you can, right? Meanwhile, he's shooting out the DNA of life. When a woman climaxes, she does not release the DNA of life. She doesn't release an egg when she climaxes. It's only the men that release the seeds for life when he climaxes. Yet we're constantly urging men to go out there and climax. However, we keep looking at the woman. A woman doesn't have to keep her legs closed. There are women who are out there who there are women who have intercourse with other women day in and day out, legs wide open or closed, scissoring one another, however it is they choose to do it, right? And no pregnancies come about. Very little, very minimal. The last time I checked the numbers, it was less than 4% in the lesbian community are carrying STD. And that 4% are women who flip flop from man to woman. This is why many women who are in the lesbian community, if you say that you're bi, they don't want anything to do with you because you are the gateway, you're the entryway for disease into the lesbian community. So and then if you look at if we look at in the male community, in the male gay community, it's teeming with all types of venereal diseases and sexually transmitted infections. Teeming. It's and most of the heterosexual women who come into contact with some of these diseases that you can't get rid of, they get them from men who are flip flopping. Men just don't really seem to be as careful. I don't know if we have just given up on trying to get men to be responsible. But it's like, on the one hand, we talk about how males are these leaders and they're the person leading the charge and all this, that, and the other. But they don't have control over their bodies. They're constantly saying, oh, you made me do this, even down to the very first story of man, the biblical story of man. Eve made him eat an apple. Really? You're head of the household. And it's like, I wanted to do a video about the Catholic Church and how, if it's not just the altar boys that were getting attacked by these priests, the nuns too. And many of the nuns didn't come forward because they felt that it was something about their lascivious feminine energy that just caused these quote unquote pious men of God to lose control and attack them. It's like we are constantly claiming that males are supposed to be these leaders, but we're constantly not holding them accountable for impregnating people, for not taking care of the offspring once they come. And yet we're still giving them a voice to vote on what it is that women should do with their bodies. I'm going to open up the phone lines in just a moment. I just want to get this last point out right here. So get ready to call in. Start getting your points together to call in, right? Start getting your points together to call in. So this is the thing right here, right? We have, how do I put this? What is the best way for me to put this so that it's not offensive? Let me think about how to put this. So listen, if you want to call in and you want to talk, make sure that you start getting ready. The telephone number is 323. The number in the title is wrong. Oh, did I type it wrong? Oh, and I can't change it now. What did I type in the title? I wonder if I can change it from the computer. Give me 1 second. I'm so sorry. I didn't realize that I did that. Give me 1 second. Let me try to open up YouTube and change the title while I am on live right now. And then I lost my train of thought because I wanted to, ugh. It's 488. Let me try to change this. Let me see if I could go into my. Let's see. I'm so sorry. Give me just 1 second. I'm so sorry. You know, oh goodness, Miss Davis is saying some harsh things about men down there. I'm going to try to change the title right now. So while you all are waiting, go ahead and thumbs up the video. You can close out the chat area. You can just close the chat area, thumb up the video, and then come back in. Let me see if I can edit this. Edit title and description. Perfect. 323-488-3149. That is the number. All right, give me just 1 second. I'm just going to double check that I got everything right. All right, and then I'm going to save it. Give me 1 second. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. And then I want to hear your arguments in a moment. I might have to come back to my point and open up the phone lines. Give me just 1 second. I'm going to paste that there, and then I'm going to save. Okay, so when you refresh, it should have the new telephone number up there. And then I lost my train of thought for what it is that I wanted to say. But you know what? All right, it's all good. We'll come back to that. We'll come back to that. We'll come back to that. All right. We'll come back to it. Don't worry. It'll come to me once we get into the arguments. And so, let me just remind everybody that this video is sponsored by My Vitamin E, which I sell once a year. So if you want to have clear skin like mine, because I don't have on makeup, well, I don't have on foundation. I have on a little bit of concealer under my eyes to keep it even. But other than that, I keep my skin clear and beautiful with my vitamin E. So you can go ahead and you can get this on my website right now. I sell it once a year. All right, and I am Tonya Tko. I'm a certified clinical hypnotherapist. I owned a skincare company years ago called TKO Skin, and I closed that to pursue my passion of making videos to help people, making videos and writing books, etc. Let me answer this call. Okay, hold on for just one moment. Okay, make sure your computer's turned down.
Okay.
All right. And there were people who loved my skincare products so much that I decided to once a year sell the most popular items. And the vitamin E was one of the most popular one. And so since I only sell it once a year, once I close sales, that's when I do all of the shipping, because I'm not really able to be doing shipping and all of that all throughout the week. So I concentrate on doing it all at one time so I could get them all out. Okay? So thank you for holding. You're on the air live with Tonya TKO. This is the great abortion debate. So, are you pro-life or pro-choice?
I am pro-choice, pro-life. I think that I'm more on the side of the individual. I
Okay.
don't
I
feel
need
that
you to
I
talk up. Your volume is really low.
Okay, 1 second.
And you know
Is
what?
this
Let me make
better?
sure my volume is all the way up.
Okay.
Okay, mine is up now. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, is this better?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so I really feel that I'm more pro-choice, pro-life in the sense that I'm on the side of the individual. I don't feel that I, as an individual, have the right to speak on what another person should do.
Okay.
Yes, I can observe and I can see what other people are going through. However, I'm not in their shoes, and I don't know what an exact person is feeling or experiencing. I can hear what they're saying. They can explain it to me and all of those things, but who feels it knows it. So my thought is to be there for the individual. If the individual tells me an example in my life, I've had different women in that situation tell me that they've had to do that, and so I didn't judge them whether they did it or they didn't do it. I just held the space for them to do what they needed to do.
Okay, so I want you to give your very, very best argument for why you are pro-choice. So this is the debate to end all other debates. So what is your best argument?
Well, I would say that in pro-choice, my best argument would fall with the individual that unfortunately had some type of abuse in their life. So if they experience a sexual violation and they are faced with the decision, are they going to be able to carry the child? That is where I would say pro-choice. And in fact, Tanya, the reason why I called you today, out of all the days I never thought yesterday, and towards the end of your show, I don't remember her name, but she shared a really transparent story in her experience about her own mom,
Uh-huh.
and saying that she feels like had her own mom not, made a decision to give life to her, knowing certain things that her mom must have known, she would not be here today to experience certain things. So really, that's what really led me to call you today about that and to discuss this with you.
Okay. Well, I appreciate you calling, and tell everybody your name again.
My name is Iset, and before I leave, can I ask a favor of you, if I have permission?
What is the
Am I
favor?
allowed? Am I allowed to crop one of your lives, the one in particular with the young lady, and share it on my page? The reason is because I love how you're doing these teachable moments. And I came across your videos, I think it was 2012, 2013, when I came into my awakening of self. And that's what I really like about you, is that you're transparent and you allow these teachable moments. You've been doing this from the beginning. And so that topic that the young lady brought up, I actually that same day had recorded, I was looking over on an old recording of an article I found about that, and I was debating, should I share this on my social media or not? And then the young lady said it out loud that she wished that more people would be more transparent about the relationships they share with their mother. So I wanted
Okay.
to know, with your permission, that I could
Yeah,
crop that.
absolutely. So just make sure that when you do put it up that you give attribution and link back to my channel.
100%. I do that with every post, as long as I have the permission. Thank you.
All right. Well, you have a great afternoon. Thank you.
You too. Bye.
All right. Bye-bye. Okay. So, we heard from a pro-choice person. I want to hear from a pro-life person next. And so I'm hoping this person that's calling in is pro-life. Thank you for calling. You're on live with Tonya Tko. Are you pro-life or pro-choice?
I'm pro-choice.
Okay, I really want to hear from a pro-life person right now. So listen, pro-lifers, I want you to get geared up. We had no pro-life people call yesterday. So go ahead. What's your name?
My name is Stacy, and I'm from North Carolina. We were talking yesterday when we got cut off on the live.
Oh, okay. So yesterday when the show cut off, this was the young lady who had
Yes.
called in. So thank you so much for calling back. So listen, while we're talking with Stacy, I'm asking a pro-life person to get geared up because I see that there are people who are talking about who's there for the baby's choices, etc. Please put your money where your mouth is. Call in on the line. So go ahead.
Thank you, Tanya. What I was trying to say yesterday is, this whole thing about, abortion. We can't have it both ways. So you want to take the woman's right to choose a way, but then, when the baby is here, or what happens with the child, because then you want to cut funding to help people who are not in the best socioeconomic situation.
Yes.
So how do you draw the line? Because you can't have it both ways. You can't say, no, you can't have abortions. You got to have these children. And then, as we heard yesterday, there were people saying, oh, my God, there's just people taking advantage of the system and blah, blah, blah. Okay. And I just love the way you pointed out how much we spend in war and how much money is just wasted in the government that we don't even know about. Like, we don't even have a clue about. But when it comes to programs that will help enrich the lives of people who need it, that has been zeroed out. And so now we're arguing amongst each other.
Yes.
And the black population is not even the biggest consumer of welfare and social programs.
That is so
Because
true.
we're not the largest population.
Nope.
So why are we even arguing amongst each other? Why aren't we being advocates for one another? Yes, in a perfect world, we wouldn't have these issues.
Right.
But we don't live in a perfect world.
So I want you to give your very, very best argument. So your very best argument is that we only care about forcing the children.
You can't have it both ways. You can't say you can't have an abortion. You got to have the child, and then when you have the child, there are very little social programs, depending on your social economic standing, to help you. You know,
Okay.
you just can't have it both ways.
Okay.
So what's the answer? Yeah, abstinence. Yeah, that we see how that works. You know, children are still being born, so let's not,
Exactly.
just say no to sex is not gonna work. It hasn't worked. It's not gonna work. People are gonna choose whether to use, birth control or not. That's the choice. Not always wisely, but again, things are gonna happen. So now we're going to have back alley abortions once again. And you know when it's going to become an issue? When the white women start dying. When the white women start dying, then it's going to become an issue. Because amongst us, it's never an issue
Okay.
until we're the canary we're the canary in the cave, but you don't start listening until the white woman starts screaming and hollering about, oh my God, I lost my sister and my
Well, you
cousin
know
and my
what?
friend.
It was the white woman's vote that got these men into office. When I looked at the exit polls for Georgia, it was the white women who voted in Kemp. So listen, that's why I put in the title of yesterday's video, "Are you happy now, WW?" So listen, so
Absolutely.
Stacy, I appreciate you calling in. Thank you for letting your point be heard. Okay.
Thank you, Tanya. Love your show.
I love you too. All right. Bye bye.
Bye.
Okay. So data shows that abstinence only training does not work. In the school districts where they only have abstinence only training and not sexual education, there are increased rates of STIs, increased rates of teen pregnancies, etc. So I want a pro-life person to call in. Who is pro-life? Who is going to hold the mantle for pro-lifeism, and who is going to speak up for the unborn clump of cells that is latched on to a woman's body. So I want you all to I want the pro-lifer to call in. The phone lines are open. I'm going to get my board back out. Oh, okay, let's see. We got a call coming in right now. Thank you for calling the Tonya TKO show. You are on the air live with Tonya. Turn down your computer and tell us your name. I'm going to disconnect you if you're not listening to me, if you're not going to respond. Make sure that you're prepared to talk when you call in. Turn down your computer. If you're on live with me, you should be talking with me, not waiting for the computer to finish talking. There's a little bit of a delay. So let me get my board out, right? All right. So we're going to go into the argument. Who is going to be the voice for the unborn child? Is this a child? So this is we're going to draw a little clump of cells right here. This is what it looks like when it's a little cashew, right? And this cashew is attached to another human being, right? And this cashew, this is the worst picture ever. Please don't do it. You're on the air live with Tonya TKO. What's your name? Hello? Okay. Listen, get yourself together. Call me again and don't speak, and you're getting blocked from being able to call in again. All right, so this is a woman right here. I can't go out like that. I gotta do a better drawing. I gotta do a better drawing. I can't go out like that. I can't. I can't. I can't. Okay. So okay. So listen, I'm gonna do a better job than that. I'm gonna do a better job. I'm gonna do a better job. So this is a woman, right? This is a woman. Okay. I'm gonna do a better job than that. Okay. Okay. I'm gonna do a better job. Okay. Yeah. So she has on a dress. Here's her legs. Okay. That's better, right? And then we're going to draw the belly. There we go. Okay? So we have, you know what? At that stage, there isn't any big bump. So we're just going to draw a regular dress because you can't really see a bump. And then we're going to draw the little cashew inside there, right? And the cashew is attached to this woman. Here's her ribs. And here is the rest of her legs and stuff. This is not, okay. So this is how, so this is how, so this is it right there, right? So this little clump of cells, even if it has a heartbeat, it cannot survive unless it is connected to the woman. So this woman is the host for the tiny clump of cells attached to her. And it cannot survive outside of the womb. It cannot survive without being connected. And it cannot, don't laugh at my drawing. And it is completely dependent on her biological functions in order to be able to survive, right? How can we force a person to incubate this clump of cells until it becomes larger? This is the last try. You're on the air live.
Hi, Miss Tonya. This is Jane Newby.
Hi, Jay Newby. Are you pro-life or pro-choice?
I'm pro-life for me and pro-choice for everybody else.
Okay. I don't think any of our pro-lifers are going to come onto the phone. So go ahead. You said your name is Pro Newbie?
Jane Newby,
Jay Newby, okay.
And that was me that called those 2 times. I was having trouble with I was getting bad reception, so I do apologize for that.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so Newbie, let's talk. So you said that you are pro-life for yourself, but pro-choice for other people. I want you to give us your best argument, because you kind of sound like you're on the fence.
Well, the thing is not wanting to control other people or tell other people what they should do. I just wish that we could come up with a better solution before the child is conceived in the first place, the unwanted child is conceived. And I say that because a lot of people's argument is, well, what if a woman is conceived through assault?
Mm-hmm.
And I am one of those women, and I know what that feels like. I was delirious and crazy for 9 months, not knowing his name, not being able to give the doctors medical information. And I thought about giving my baby up when he was born. But when I looked at him, all I could see was me. And he is 21 years old now, and I cannot imagine my life without him in it. But that's me. So I don't agree with abortion, but I would never vote against it, if that makes sense.
Okay.
For me, it's a no.
And so what was it that made you decide to continue forward with your pregnancy after your assault?
I went to an abortion clinic, and at the particular one I went to, I don't know if they do it at all of them, they make you watch a video, and it was pretty graphic, and I just couldn't do it.
Okay. So there was a video that you saw that deterred you from being able to do it. And so when your son asked about his father, what do you say?
Oh, God, we had that talk when he was 12 years old. And what I tried to stress to him, that he is loved, he is wanted, and he is just as valuable as my other 9 children. I have 10 children, by the way, and he wasn't the first. He's number 5. And so now we don't, it doesn't come up much anymore at the age he is now, but we talked about it a lot. I didn't want to tell him, but he was getting to that age where he started asking questions. Like, you know, he would hear stories of my second husband being in the room when the babies were born and that type of thing. And he asked, what about me? Because my second husband is legally his father. So that whole thing was hard. It was difficult. And to this day, I wonder sometimes how he feels inside. Because like I said, he doesn't bring it up much. But we're dealing with it, and I wouldn't trade him for anything in the world.
Okay, so no behavioral issues that you've noticed as of yet with that particular child.
No,
And
nothing out of the ordinary.
and were you in a position to be able to care for him, like financially, etc., when he was born, or was that one of the issues as well?
Well, I was in college at the time, so it was a struggle on money, but that was never my reason for even considering the abortion in the first place. It was just thinking that I wouldn't be able to love the child, that I wouldn't connect with him. And the minute he was born, that all went away. And I mean, I struggled with it for the entire pregnancy. But the minute I laid eyes on him, that all washed away.
Okay. Well, Newbie, thank you so much for calling in. We appreciate your input.
You're welcome. I wish I could have been a little more precise for you, but that's just where I'm at with it.
Yeah, no, I we appreciate that. My mind is just swirling into a million different places right now, and yeah, well, I'm happy for you and your family. So thank you so much for
Thank
calling
you.
in.
Okay, bye-bye.
All right. All right. You're on the air live with Tonya TKO. Make sure your computer's turned down and you're turned up.
Hi, Miss Tanya. I'm a big fan of your show.
Oh, that's what. I need you to just hold for just one moment, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right. So, everyone, I just want to remind everybody that right now you're watching the Tonya TKO show. And right now we are giving our best arguments for why we are either pro-choice or pro-life. This is the debate to end all debates. So make sure that, so the phone lines are open. Make sure that you get in the queue to call in. And we're going to be discussing our best arguments. Remember, this video is sponsored by me on my website, tonyatko.com. You can find MP3s, which will help you shift into living your best life. I have a Forgive MP3. I am a certified clinical hypnotherapist. I have a Forgive MP3, a stress release MP3, and you can get a complimentary copy of the Relax MP3 when you join my mailing list. If you go to the shop area, tonyatko.com/shop, you can find your MP3s there, t-shirts, and other merchandise. All right. So, caller, thank you so much for holding. You are on the air live.
Yes, thank you very much, Miss
You're
Tanya.
really fuzzy.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yeah, but you're too fuzzy. You have to step away just a little bit from the microphone.
Oh, got it. Is this better?
Okay, yes, that's better. So go ahead.
Okay, I know you want a lot of pro-lifers, however, I'm pro-choice. I've always been pro-choice since my high school days. I feel like a lot of pro-life people, their care starts and ends up to the baby born. After that, no one cares as far as that child's living arrangements, as far as the education, as far as what services will be provided, as far as if they're going to be in the foster care system. No one cares. Everyone starts caring about this baby's life, but nobody really cares about this baby's life.
Okay.
And I feel that you can't sit here and say you're pro-life without being genuinely concerned about a person's life in its full entirety.
Okay. Well, can you
And that's why I'm just pro-choice, because I feel that so much, as you said, so much burden is placed on the woman. But fact of the matter is, if men were the ones who were getting pregnant, we wouldn't even have a question about abortions being banned. There would be a abortion clinic anywhere. They would get paid time off. They would get the counseling. They would get the assistance. They would
Well,
get
you know
all
what?
those
That
things.
is that
But
is
the fact that it's
that is
women, so much burden is
uh-huh.
placed on the woman.
And you know what? And that is the reason why it's important for us to vote. Let your voices be heard. Don't just go out, you know, don't just go and just continue to vote for people who don't have your best interest at heart. So it's really important for us to get up and go to the polls and let our voices be heard. So Georgia spoke, they brought Kemp into office, and now this is where we are. This is where we are. All right, so listen, let me get my okay. So I am looking for a pro-life person to call in. I need a person who is pro-life. Hello, are you pro-choice or pro-life?
Hi, I'm pro-life.
Okay, wonderful. What's your name?
Veronica.
Okay, hi, Veronica. So I want you to give your very, very best argument for why we should all be pro-life. Very, very best argument, okay?
Okay. Well, I feel that, first of all, God never makes any mistakes. And like the previous caller said, she was in a bad situation, but it wasn't the child's fault, the way he was conceived. So I don't feel that killing the baby is going to solve anything.
Okay, so your best argument is that God, the person that, or the entity that you consider to be God, doesn't make any mistakes, and that what was the second one?
And I feel that it doesn't matter how the baby was conceived, no matter how terrible the circumstance may have been, it's never the baby's fault.
Okay, so there are two different things, Veronica. One, you're talking about a God. Now, a God that you believe in that other people may not believe in the same way, right? And did you know that in the up until 1870, even the Catholic Church didn't have a problem with abortion? It was the fact that abortions came into being in the United States wasn't a church push. There were people who were trying to, it was a capitalistic push because people were trying to push doulas and midwives out of the market. And people were trying to sell, they were trying to push out the people who were selling uh, pills that would abort the fetus. So there are two different things. You're talking about a God that everyone may not believe in the manifestation of in the same way that you believe. And then also you're talking about a bit, you're calling a fetus a baby, a clump of cells that can't survive on its own. You're calling that a baby. And everybody doesn't
Well,
believe that the clump of cells is a baby.
it doesn't matter, like, religion doesn't matter. It doesn't matter whether or not people believe in God or not. It's just right from wrong. And a baby's not, it's not just a clump of cells, because if you don't kill it, it's going to develop into a full-grown baby and then a full-grown adult. So it's not just a clump of cells. It's still
Well,
a human.
it's not, if it can't survive on its own outside of this person's body, then how is it a viable life source? How is it a viable
It
form
can't,
of life?
but it will survive if it gets a chance to develop. If once the mother or someone kills the baby, it's never going to get a chance to develop into a full-grown formed child. If you kill it and
Right.
stop that process, of course, it's never going to get a
Let
chance
me
to
let me
live.
ask you let me ask you this question. What have you done to express that you're pro-life? What actions have you taken to be on the forefront of your expression of pro-life? What have you done?
Well, for people who I might hear, or through like my circle of people that I know, or through the grapevine, my associates, if I ever hear them discussing, possibly getting an abortion and they ask for my opinion, or if there's a young teenage girl who is in a bad decision and she's not sure whether or not she should have that abortion, I would definitely convince her not to do that.
Okay.
And I offer my advice when it's asked for. So that's what I'm doing.
Has
That's the life.
anybody, do you know anyone who is enrolled in the armed services?
Yes, my family. I have some cousins that are in the armed services.
Did they ask you whether or not they should go into the armed service before they went in?
They asked which division.
And
Yeah,
what
they
and
wanted my.
what was your response to them?
I gave my opinion on which one I felt would be best or safer.
So you gave advice for them to enter into a branch of military whose specific purpose in in creating quote unquote peace is to kill people.
No, they don't do that. They're in the Navy. It's not the Army
The
or
Navy
the
the Navy kills as
Marines.
well. They have submarines that kill. The Navy has planes that kill.
But they don't do. But they haven't taken part in that.
But you still support branch of the military whose main function, how many people have died in how many people have died in the Middle East? So when you talk about life and people and this
But
clump of cells,
war is not pretty. War is not pretty. So that's a grown person's decision. But a baby doesn't have a decision. A baby doesn't have
what
a
about the
choice.
babies who are killed in Syria? What about the babies who are dying in Yemen right now?
Well, I would never do that. So
Right, you would never do it, but what have you actively done to discourage the war? You said that you have actively gone around and discouraged people from getting rid of a clump of cells inside of their body. What have you
it's
done?
not a clump of cells. I actually know someone who had an abortion years ago, and to this day she regrets it
There are
because
many
she's
there,
married now. She
but
has 2 kids, and
there
now it haunts
right.
her.
But there are many people who have abortions and don't regret it. It was one of the best decisions of their life because that was not a road that they wanted to go down. So anecdotal evidence is not evidence. What I'm talking about right now is whether or not you're pro-life or you're just anti a woman being able to make the choice of whether or not she brings a human life into the world. Because what about all of these women who do give birth to children, babies right now? I saw a video. I saw a video and
I know there are some people who shouldn't have kids, but that's what
no,
abortion
listen
is.
to what it
That's
is.
what
Listen,
adoption is for.
Veronica, listen to what it is that I'm saying. I saw a video where there were babies in Syria who were covered underneath rubble, dead, dead. So these were women who were courageous enough to bring life into the world, and now those babies are dead. So I want to know what it is that you're actively doing to stop people from dying.
Well, there's nothing that us as individuals can really do besides vote for, whoever political party you feel, is more to what you believe in. So that's what, the elections are for. That's what we can
Okay.
do or give advice to people who are not sure and have to make that decision.
Okay. I'm happy to be talking with a person who considers themselves to be pro-life because I find a lot of hypocrisy in the pro-life movement because one of the things that I find is that people who claim that they're pro-life are not really pro-life. They're just pro forcing women to give birth. Do you eat meat?
No, but the thing is, the majority of women that have a lot of times abortion is just seen as like a form of birth control. People think they can go out and be
Right,
irresponsible and just
right,
like
right.
poop around and oops, I'm
Yeah.
pregnant. Let's take
I
care of
know,
that.
but
Oops, I'm
right,
pregnant again.
right.
Let's
And
take care of that.
there was a person who called in yesterday who gave some anecdotal evidence of, or an anecdote about a woman who had 16 abortions, right? That was on yesterday's show. I'm asking you, when you're passing by a grocery store and they have those big aisles of slaughtered animals, how does it make you feel as a person who's pro-life, or are you only pro-human life? Or you just don't care about animals?
No, I care about all life. I feel that all life should be respected.
Okay, so my question to you is, have you been to a grocery store where they have the dead carcasses of animals laid out there on display, covered in cellophane and plastics, just sitting up there in its own blood? What have you done about the fact that there are slaughtered animals for sale and consumption?
Well, there's nothing that we as consumers can do. If you disagree with it, then you just don't eat it and you don't buy it and you don't support it in
You know
that
what?
way.
And I'm glad that you said that. So if you disagree with abortion, you don't have one. You just don't have
That's
one.
different. You can't compare chickens to a baby
Why not? It's a life, isn't it?
because human lives are worth more than an animal life.
Oh, and I'm so glad that you said that. That is the point right there. That is the point. Did everyone hear what it is that she said? A human life is worth
Killing a
more.
chicken, if you kill a chicken, you're not going to go to jail for killing a chicken.
Right,
If you
because
kill a
because
human,
because we have this idea of human supremacy where we think that a human life is worth more, where we think an American life is worth more, where we think a white
I
male's
agree with
life
that
is worth
commenter. It's
more,
the AAA. You're absolutely right.
where we think a heterosexual white male's life is worth more. But the further you go down the list and the further you get from being a heterosexual white male, the less your life matters. So that we're okay with certain types of animals being laid out in the grocery store, blood filled dead carcasses laid out for us to go and
Tanya, why are you diverting? Like you're
I'm
talking
not
about
I'm
something
not even done.
totally
I'm not
different than a baby. You
I
can't
because
compare
because
chickens and
because
cows to a
I don't see the
child.
difference. I think if we're going to be pro life, we need to be pro life all the way. We need to respect all life. We need to respect life in Syria. We need to respect the life of the chicken. We need to respect because it has been shown. It has
But
been.
Tanya, a human is not at the same level as a pig or a chicken.
Oh, and you know what? And I'm so glad that you brought up pig because have you ever looked into the intelligence level of a pig? The sentience of a pig. It has been shown that cows and pigs especially, did you know that when they do research on when they look for animals that have the closest to human body parts, they use something like a pig because they're so close to us. Pigs are sentient, cows are sentient, and they have proven over and over again to be able to discern and have discernment. If you start playing classical music outside of a field of cows or pigs, they'll stop and they'll listen.
I
Because
mean, yes, I agree that animals they do have feelings, and if people are going to eat them, they shouldn't abuse them. I've seen some sick videos where people are abusing them and treating them like they're just a piece of garbage before they actually slaughter them. I
right,
don't think people should eat pork and beef because it's unhealthy for you, in my opinion.
right,
So that's my
forget about
choice,
the
but I can't.
life. So
I know I feel bad. I feel bad that they're slaughtered and everything,
right,
but
but see,
in the
so this is
Bible, I think eating fish is fine. In the Bible, Jesus ate fish,
I
and that's
know, but
what it's
remember,
for.
you know what? The Bible, there's listen, there's controversy about whether or not Jesus Christ even really lived. That has not been proven. Historically, it has not been proven that Jesus Christ
Well, I
even
can't
walked
ever
the earth.
denounce God, so like
Right,
that's something
right.
I don't
So
ever
what
do.
I'm
But
saying is you're basing your point of view over stories that you've been told. And if there are stories that are being told about a God person who advocates the slaughter of certain animals, I mean back in those listen,
well, Jesus is the one who created life, so
that's your
and if he
opinion.
created fish,
That
I mean, there's
that's
nothing wrong with eating fish, but
because as a human in our realm of human supremacy, we have determined that certain animals are worth more. Like you said, a human life is worth more. We determined that a dog's life is worth more than a cow's life, so that people are protesting people in China eating dogs, but they're not protesting us slaughtering cows here. And then I'm going to let you go. However, I just wanted to make this last point, and then I'll let you give your last point, and then we'll thank you for your call, right?
it's not about religion or whether or
It
not people
obviously is
believe
about,
in God.
you
It's
know
about
what, you're,
babies.
all right. So there was one last point that I wanted to make, right? We we make a lot of concessions for other people and what other people should or should not be doing. When it comes to how it is that we feel about human lives, but we don't take the same steps. We don't have the same energy to protest the unjust treatment of, like, let's say I need you to hold on for just one moment, okay?
Hello?
Yeah, hold on for just one moment, please.
Okay.
Yeah, you know, we have all of this outrage when it comes to a woman deciding what it is that she wants to do with this clump of cells, and we start putting our opinions of who she is, what that clump of cells is. However, we're very quiet about, let's say we do want to eat animals. Why do the animals have to be abused? I need you to turn down your computer, okay?
Okay.
All right. Where's the outrage for how the animals are being treated?
Rhea, I'm calling from Panama City, Florida. I'm calling because I honestly agree with the bill. I feel like self-control
I'm
and
sorry, are you, hello?
hello, yes.
Yeah, your volume is
Hello,
really,
can you hear me?
your volume's really low. Let me turn you up.
Okay, let me turn it up.
Okay,
Let
I
me
got you
turn
now.
my baby TV
You're
down.
good now. You're good now.
Okay. Well, I absolutely agree with the bill. I kind of disagree just on like rape victims and sexual assault, and especially with underage. Like something happens with underage kids, but I feel like if there's nothing going on, and I don't believe it. I believe that the law is right. I believe that that law is right. It's about self-control. Don't have sex. Slow down. People. I feel like maybe that'll start training our young ladies. There will be no abortion. I believe it needs to be stopped.
You know,
Self-control.
if men had universal vasectomies, there would be no unwanted pregnancies. As I stated in the very first few
Right.
minutes of this broadcast, a female does not release an egg when she orgasms. It's men who
Right.
ejaculate their DNA for building blocks of life. Every time that they climax, they release sperm cells. So why is it about a woman having self-control instead of putting the implementation into place to actually stop the people who produce sex cells with each orgasm? Because women can have sex as much as they like. It's the actual male orgasm that fertilizes the egg.
Yeah, but we're the ones carrying, and we can say no, or we can use a condom, or
Right.
you know,
Condoms are not 100% foolproof. I want you to give your very best argument for why pro-life. Please, best argument.
why pro-life? Because of just of the fact that if my mother had listened to my grandmother, I wouldn't be here. You know what I mean? And then like, I feel like that's a real big thing. Like, imagine how many of us wouldn't even be here. Imagine how much stuff we would miss out on as far as it could have been anybody that should have been here. Politics, lawyers, the president, anybody. Like, and I'm glad that I was able to have my son. And I don't know, maybe I'm coming from a sensitive place because of the fact that I went through not having a child, and now I'm 29 and had my first child. And I just thank God. Like, I cried when I found out I was pregnant. I was just overwhelmed with just, I just feel like as a woman, you want to be a mother or at least experience it. I guess maybe I'm pulling from those strings here. I'm not sure, but
Okay, so
I just feel like,
your best argument for pro-life are the anecdotes that happened in your own life, your mother and you, and how happy
well,
you
my
were.
best one is you don't know who's being created in the world. You don't know who that person that you're growing. You don't know their potential and what they could be, and that could be something the world is missing. That piece, some
Okay.
of those pieces, some of that
Okay.
knowledge, some of that everything. Like, I feel like we don't know that yet. So just give them
Okay.
that chance. If you don't want them, I mean, that's the bad part about keeping a child you don't want. Now that's where it's kind of shady with me, because I'm like, I would only imagine a child growing up in a house where the mother just continuously did not want you and had to have you. Now that's scary.
Okay.
So I guess that
The
part
so
is that's very scary.
right. So then the question is, so I'm happy that when you became pregnant that you were overjoyed about your child. Now, as we know, so we talked about this yesterday with Freakonomics. And in the book
Yes, ma'am.
Freakonomics, were you on yesterday's broadcast?
Yes, ma'am. I was listening. Yes, ma'am. I
Okay.
listen to your show all the time.
Oh, thank you. Well, welcome. In
Yes.
yesterday's show, we talked about how the crime rate went down once Roe versus Wade went into action. So abortions actually helped minimize the amount of children that were born into high risk situations where they were then not able to, I'm talking about violent crimes, where they were then not
Yeah.
able to enact violent crimes. So when we talk about the people who would not be here, and there was a woman who called in earlier, because I love evolutionary psychology. I do a lot of research on how we actually got to where it is that we are right now. The woman who called in, so there are people who genetically they have different things going on with them. So people who are more prone to participate in crime, right? They
Mhm.
they lack this part of the brain that exhibits fear, right? So the less fear you
Okay.
have, the more impulsive you are, the more you push the envelope, the more you are more apt to participate in crime because you have no fear of the consequences, right? So there's a woman who
Yeah.
gave birth and brought the DNA into this world of a person whose father had the proclivities for violent assault. And so my thing as a person who loves evolutionary psychology, I believe that there are some people that don't need to be here. I believe that there are some genes that
Right.
that do need to die out.
I honestly believe that. The only reason I really believe that is like as far as like if you found out that your child is going to be disabled. Now people can say what they want to say, but a lot of people, if they had the chance to know before, and that would suck to have to not want the child, knowing the child probably has like a disorder, and to have to carry on the full term and have the child. That's you know what? Let me change my mind. I don't think I agree with this because it's just too many situations that
What
can
in the
happen.
world?
I it's just too many. And then I feel like even with what you're saying about the freakonomics, like okay, well, it's like I feel two ways, because I feel like out of maybe 15 of those what we call bad seeds, it may be one or two good seeds that may assist in changing the world. So I don't know, but you know what? I don't agree with the law. I don't because I even work with disabled children. I'm a representative payee, and there's a lot of stuff I've seen, and there's a lot of parents that are taking care of their children that are actually extreme cerebral palsy, can't eat, can't walk, can't talk, and didn't know that until they had the child. Because I asked these kind of questions, so I would wonder, what would they choose if they knew this was the life for their child? So I don't know. You know
Hmm.
what? I'm gonna take I changed my mind on that. Yeah, yes, you better have them because there's just so many different things that could play out with it.
So you agree with
Horrible thing.
wait a minute. I wasn't
I
expecting this. So
Yeah, I know me neither. Till we got to talking, I'm like, you know what? When I think about the medical wise and the how some kids can be disfigured and like I said, can't walk, talk or eat. I've taken care of children like that. So and I had a mother that she did not know. She had no clue. She was told that her child was fine, and then her child had surgery on her back, and then like when she was a few months, and then that was what the results they were left with. But she
really,
was kind of not right, when she was born. So that's why they did the spinal bifida. They tried to do like a surgery to fix it,
yeah.
but she had already had like a lot of the not talking and all of that had already. But she didn't know that. The doctors couldn't tell her that. They didn't tell her that. I don't know if they could or not back then. I don't know, but I know it's really sad, and I feel like if she like even the mother of the child, she doesn't even raise the child. Like she left to another state. I was pretty much the little girl's mom. So it's kind of like if she could have went back in time and maybe and knew what was going on and made a decision, I bet she probably wouldn't have had her child. Honestly, I know she loves her child, but every time she sees her, she's in tears. It's like a devastating event instead of a happy event. And as a mother now, I guess I can kind of see her pain as far as, your child doesn't get to succeed as far as driving, school and just life in general if they're not walking or talking. But, I mean, they do still have emotions because, you can feel them. A person doesn't have to talk for you to understand them. So,
So then my question is then, this young lady who had the spina bifida, um,
hmm
is there no upside to her being on this planet?
I mean, well, she has a great family. Her dad takes full care of her full time. He's a Catholic. He's trying to be a priest. He's a very, very good man. I respect him so much. He's taught me a lot about his language. He's from North Korea. And see, I didn't even understand him being North Korea, like his mindset, until I actually got on YouTube and started looking up North Korea. And I looked it up and I was like, oh my God, he got here from the war and he's been through a lot. And now he has his daughter that's like this. And he has a younger daughter that is completely normal and is succeeding. But the pleasure in this young lady that has the spina bifida is so much. Her ear for music is amazing. She loves music, and she will brighten your whole day without the language. Through the language, it's just her face expressions. You know what I mean? That's there. So I mean, it's like you can talk. You're still communicating, but just without the
Okay.
language. But
So
she
see,
brightened my day. She changed my life.
right,
So
right. So see now,
yeah, well,
okay.
I guess she does have something to offer.
Right. So
Yeah.
this girl who has spina bifida, even though she had some sort of issues, right? The mother wanted the
Mhm.
child. I guess she didn't want a child with the complications,
Yeah.
but the father wanted the child. The child is here on the earth, and the child is an amazing presence on the earth. So
Yes.
I think there's a difference between, so then this is the dilemma. If the woman had known beforehand, would she have
Mhm.
would she have terminated a pregnancy? Because obviously when she was faced with having a child with challenges, she left the picture.
She
However,
left. Yeah.
however
It's a
the
whole other
father
state.
wanted the child.
Mhm.
I don't know. I don't know. That's an interesting
Yeah.
conundrum.
You know.
That's an interesting conundrum. So, you know what? Thank you so much for calling in. I
Thank
appreciate your
you.
point of
I'll continue
view.
listening.
Okay. So, thank
Positive
you.
vibes. Have a good day.
All right.
Bye.
All right. So, this is very very interesting. What does a person do when one parent wants the child and the other parent does not? That child is still dependent on the woman's biological functions to survive. But if that woman does not want the child and she doesn't want to go through the 9 months of having this human being latched onto her, or she doesn't want to go through the process of having her DNA, like that particular woman who left her child, apparently she didn't have an issue with having her DNA out there in the world and her not participating in it. But how do we force a person to have their DNA out in the world? What if there's a man who doesn't want the child and the woman does? And does the woman have the right to force does the woman have the right to force this person's DNA out into the world? So that's my question. So I had some other questions that I wanted to talk about. Oh, before we go any further, this is my all natural vitamin E. It is the most powerful, most potent vitamin E on the market. Most places can't sell vitamin E this pure. I need you to hold on for just a moment, okay?
Okay.
Most places can't sell vitamin E this pure because this vitamin E is alive. Most vitamin E's that's on the market they're synthetic. That's why it's clear and it doesn't meld into your skin. Like this is what keeps my skin so clear and so nice. So on my website I sell this once a year. So go over to tonyatko.com and get yours. This video is sponsored by the vitamin E. So thank you very much for holding. Are you pro-life or pro-choice?
I am pro life.
Okay, you're pro-life. Hold on for just one moment. I would like to encourage, I want to hear a man's point of view. I want a man to call in, whether you're pro life or pro choice. I would like for you to call in because the person does not want or not wanting a child that a person is trying to force into this world. All right, so you're on the air live. What's your name?
Hi, Tonya. This is Honey.
Hi, honey. How are you?
I'm great, thank you.
Okay, so you're pro choice, I mean pro life. So go ahead, give us your best argument for why you're pro life.
I'm pro-life just because I don't think that we should be deciding who should live and who should not live. We don't know what that unborn child is planned to do, so I don't think that we should kill children. I also,
People don't kill children. They abort fetuses.
okay, you don't believe that the fetus is a child, and I do.
Well, you
And
know
so to
what?
me,
Listen, if we're going to have a conversation, we at least have to get on the same page about the technical terms. It is not called a child until it is independent of the mother's body. While it is still
so
dependent on the while it is still dependent on the
that
mother's
that
body, it's a
that this
fetus.
that's this world's determination. If we look at everything, history, and this is how I look at stuff. I look at life in full. We know that Buddha taught us that everything is living. Every single thing lives. Paint on the wall is deteriorating before your very eyes. That doesn't happen overnight. Everything is life. So once that sperm and that seed is connected, that's life.
You know,
So
I think you're mistaken. I think you're mistaken. Buddha did not call paint on the wall life. It may be energy. Energy does not die. It only changes form. Paint on the wall is energy, but it's not life. So,
but what he taught us is that everything is living. And his scenario was that is that if you sit and if you stare at paint on a wall or on a car, you do not see it deteriorating at that time. But over years, you will see that it deteriorates because it's actually living.
yeah, so if that's the case,
So
then that means that you can't strip paint off of your walls or car if it's life. So,
no, that's not what it means. This is what I was about to tell you on that term because I knew that you when you were talking to someone else, you mentioned about animals and different things like that. I do believe that there is a hierarchy. And I believe that human life is the hierarchy. Now, I also agree with what you said. Whenever we do that, then we get into this realm of, well, white life is better than black life, so forth and so on. And that causes a lot of problems as well. But in reality, I do believe that once that sperm connects with that egg, that is life. We have no way of knowing what that child could or could not be. And when you take something like that without knowing, you have no idea what you're doing to the world. You have no idea. And man is supposed to be superior. I believe that. And I know a lot of people don't believe in religion, but I do. Not so much as the fact that it hasn't been tampered with and doctored by men to make it to what they want, to cause wars, because I say the worst wars fought were done in the name of religion. But in my opinion, it is absolutely wrong for someone to kill a child, even in the form of rape. And it's an awful, horrible thing. I feel sorry for anyone that it happens to that conceives a child, but that child may be meant to do something or bring something into the world. We don't know. That's how I look at it.
okay, and that animal that you ate could have done something to the world as well.
I would agree with you on that, but the thing that I feel about the animals is because man is supposed to be superior, we have the ability to breed
You
control with the animals.
you know you're speaking hypocritically, and I'm startled by the level of hypocrisy because Buddha did not eat animals. First you start talking about Buddha, and then
No,
you
Buddha did not eat animals, but he taught us that everything is living. He
I know,
actually
but
believed you shouldn't even kill an ant.
excuse me. I gave you a chance to talk. If you could allow me the opportunity to speak. Then you start talking. Buddha didn't believe in the hierarchy of humans being at the top and humans being superior to other animals. So which one is it? Did you are you following Buddha's teachings? Or do you
No, I
believe?
don't follow anyone's teachings. I'm telling you that because of Buddha's
So then
teachings,
why
he
mention
taught
Buddha?
that because he taught that everything is living, and so when you say that
Yet you turn
egg in that
around, you
sperm is,
mention Buddha, then you start chomping on chicken.
you say that egg and that sperm is not living, they are living. But you are correct. Buddha didn't even believe you should kill an ant. And I'm a person, if I see a roach, I'm getting some rays. Buddha would not do that. But what he taught was that everything is living, and I'm saying that I agree with that everything is living. I believe that humans are the highest form of life. I believe that. I'm not
That's
saying Buddha believes
okay.
that.
Well, you know what?
And I'm saying,
I find it disheartening that as a human being you've decided to put humans at the hierarchy.
yes,
You've
I
you've
do.
you've decided that humans are at the hierarchy.
I
Yet,
do believe that humans are at the hierarchy.
okay, and I find that disappointing. I find it startling, and I find it typical for humans who believe that they are the ultimate and supreme beings, so that we have our human supremacy, so that we yield our will over other living beings and feel that we have the right to take their lives because we may be hungry, and then we sit there and ingest on the dead corpses of animals, and we think that we're justified in that because we're quote unquote humans and we're at the top of the chain. This is why humans are so destructive, and why we kill anything that we feel may have an advantage over us, so that we become the apex predators.
And animals do the same. Animals will kill a
No,
human if they become hungry. Animals
there's
that
a
feel like they're
difference.
at
There's a
at
there's
the
a
top of their domain, they will do the same. They will
no,
attack
there's
humans and kill as well.
no, but there's a difference between a thing that is a carnivore eating to live, and they're not holding humans in cages, beating and stomping and keeping the humans in filth and killing more humans than they have the capacity to eat. First of all, if you
Now
go
you're
if you
getting
go
in
if you go out for a 20-piece chicken wings, that's 10 damn dead birds just so you could eat
wait,
some chicken
wait,
wings.
wait. Now, Tanya, let me tell you this. You have definitely gotten into a pet peeve of mine. I am not for waste. I think it is wrong to kill meat and put it in a store to sell to people, and half the time it's thrown away. It's wasteful, and it's
Mhm.
absolutely wrong. That's a whole nother pet peeve
I
of
want to
mine.
know, when was the last
And
time you
I
went
feel
to the
that way
grocery
about vegetables
store?
and everything. It has no
When was the
business
last
sitting in
time,
stores.
honey? When was the last time you went to the grocery store to protest the waste of life?
Went to the grocery store to protest the waste of life. I've never been there, or to an abortion clinic to protest life either. But I tell you what I do. I have no children of my own, and I have been raising children since I was 4 years old, and haven't had a child in my presence since maybe about 3 years now. But I started babysitting my first niece when I was 4 years old, and I've taken in all kinds of children that are not mine to keep them safe. But in terms of going to protest at anybody's abortion clinic or anything like that, I don't do that because I do feel like people have a choice to do what they want, whether I agree with it or not, but I am absolutely for pro life. So
Okay.
just like I don't go and protest in the grocery store, I don't go and protest at an abortion clinic.
Okay. Well, I hope you're
But
not.
I'm not for the wastefulness with the food
I
and
hope
stuff
you're
because
not
it's
pro
sickening to
war.
me.
I hope you're not pro war.
I am not pro war.
Okay. So, what are your thoughts about these people being killed over there in the Middle East as we speak? Right now, someone is dying at America's hands.
I can tell you right now, I don't know of one war that I have been for. I think that as the higher species, we should be able to resolve our differences without going to war. And on top of that, a lot of wars I think are not so much about conflict; it's about somebody trying to take something that does not even belong to them.
Okay. Well, you know
You
what
know,
I
like
want you to
all
do? I want you to take the same energy that you had to make this phone call And I want you to call your representative for your state and tell them to end the war, okay? And I also want you
Oh
to,
no! Listen to me. Know that I do. That is what I do. I
okay,
stay in their inboxes.
okay, well, tell them to end the war and contact and see how we can stop and how we can end the slaughter of animals for food consumption, okay?
Those are two of my things, Tanya. So I'm with you on that because it is
Okay,
absolutely wrong.
listen, send me a message. Send me a message and let me find out what channels you contacted about about the
Oh,
animal
I can
thing.
tell you what I get back from them. I get back these emails that say, "Thank you so much for your opinion about this." They're very generic, the ones that they send out to everybody, and then they tell you join my mailing list. So that you're like, I'm not trying to join your mailing list.
Okay.
I'm trying to tell you that I'm upset about this situation.
Which
So
state
no,
which
I
state
honestly
which
do.
state are you in right now?
I don't want to put my state out there, but
Okay.
I can tell you later.
Okay. Well, you know what? Just make sure that you contact your state representative and get all the stuff that you need done. Were you in one of those states where a Republican got elected or a Democrat?
Republican.
Oh, wow. All right.
And not only did I vote, I took people to the polls. I'm about what I say I'm about.
Nobody said that you were not. Except you over
Yeah.
you eat chicken? You eat beef?
Oh, I eat all meat.
Wow. You know what? Thank you for your call. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. You have a great day. All right. So we have pro-lifers who are all for the chomping on the dead corpse of other animals. So so AABB, why don't you come out of the audience and come on the phone? I want to hear from a man. You're on the air live with Tanya. What's your name?
Hey, it's Courtney again. Sorry, I'm not a man.
Okay.
So, yeah, from Pennsylvania. So I don't know if you remember a few years back the Latoya Figueroa case.
The who?
Latoya Figueroa.
No.
Okay, so she was pregnant. She decided to go through with her pregnancy, and her life ended because I guess the father did not want her to go forth with the pregnancy.
The father of the child or her father?
The father of the child.
Okay. And so the
There's a
father of
lot
the
of big stories about that. Yes.
so the father
I'm
ended her
sorry.
life.
Yes.
And so how does this
So
relate to what we're talking
I
about?
really do wish men would call in. I'm sorry.
How does this relate to what so you called in to wish that men would call in?
I do wish that men would call in, but I feel that they need to take some responsibility for this as well. If women want to make their, if the father is not going to be there and help support this woman with this baby, what is she supposed to do? Just run for and try to take him for child support, or try to get some assistance? Men need to call in too, and they need to be accountable for this as well. And
Okay.
if these pro-lifers are, for life, then try to, what's the reason you won't want abortion in the first place? A
Okay.
lot of them don't want to do it. A lot of them have to. They don't have a choice.
Okay. Well, you know what? Let's beckon some men to call forward. Okay. So thank you so much for calling in.
Nice. Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye bye. All right. So listen. So we need a man to call in. We want to hear the male point of view. You cannot have a child on your own. So we want to hear your point of view. All right. And this video right here is sponsored by me. If you go to my website, tonyatko.com, you'll be able to find a wonderful and vast amount of ways that you can support me and this show. I am a certified clinical hypnotherapist, and I do have healing MP3s for the people who were born into less than desirable circumstances. There's the Forgive MP3. I'm also working on the Heal the Inner Child Within MP3 to help you be able to shift and heal some of those old childhood wounds. So if you go to my website, TonyaTKO.com, and if you get yourself the Relax MP3, the Relax MP3 is complimentary, and you can get that for yourself. You can get it with my compliments today for joining the mailing list. And that way, when the Heal the Inner Child, so for those of you who came into this world in ways that were less than fully supportive, and you have trauma from childhood, or there are people who are not you're not who you have not forgiven, or let's say that there is a tremendous amount of stress that you're under. I have the stress release MP3, which will take you, all of the hypnotherapeutic MP3s take you on a hypnotherapeutic journey to help you alleviate and shift and heal from your past traumas. So that's TonyaTKO.com, and go get yours today. Okay? All right. So listen, we are hearing from, I want to hear men. There are men. AABB is in the audience, and AABB is a male. Why won't you call in, AABB? You were talking about how I support the life of animals, but then I said that there's some humans that I feel should not be born. Let's see here. You are on the, turn on your computer. You're on the air live with Tonya TKO.
I just want everybody to vote for Trump next year, and hopefully all 50.
Yeah, so I have the phone lines open. So anybody who is male, whether you're pro-life or pro-choice, we want to hear from you. So make sure that you call in. The telephone number is 323-488-3149. And the phone lines are open right now. So we have it open for men. We have the phone line open for men to call. Listen, why are there no men that are calling in? You know, we want to hear from people who are squirting out the building blocks for life during every ejaculation. You know, so let's go that route. So we want to hear from a male. So men, please call in. We're waiting for you. We're waiting for you. As we know, in the states where we have abstinence only, where we teach abstinence only instead of sex education. So Jeremiah is saying he can't talk there. See, Jeremiah was a bullfrog. Listen, hop out of where you're at. Come on, hop, hop away from where you're at, and then call in, Jeremiah. We're waiting for you. You have to let your voice be heard. This is the debate to end all other debates. So call in. It's your time now, Jeremiah. Listen, you gotta let your voice be heard. You gotta let your voice be heard. All right. Look, Jeremiah was a bullfrog. They got your bullfrog. I don't know where that came from. Is that a song, a biblical song? So I'm gonna get my chart back out, right? I'm gonna get my chart back out. So we're waiting for a male to call in. Oh goodness. Let's see. All right. So I'm waiting right now. So phone lines are open, and we're waiting for, let's see. All right. Okay. All right. All right. So Jeremiah is pro-life, and he'll chomp on the dead corpses of animals. I don't know what to say about this. I don't know what to say. So Jeremiah, are you one of the people who believe in human supremacy? That humans are somehow Okay, so Bernard, if you're calling from a blocked number, you need to unblock the number. The blocked numbers are not coming through because we have some irrational people out there. So we So Bernard, come on and make listen, Bernard, what are you afraid of? You put your voice, put your here we go. Put your you're on the air live with Tonya TKO. What's your name?
Bernard.
Oh, Bernie's here. So come on, Bern.
No, Bernard.
Oh,
Not Bernie.
oh, wait, I'm feeling the burn. All right.
No, no, it wasn't like that.
So we
Nobody ever
got
called me Bernie.
we got Bernard on the phone. So come
Yes,
on, Bernard. Let's talk. Are you pro-life or pro-choice?
I'm definitely pro-choice.
Okay, so Bernard is pro-choice. So talk to us. Well, give us your best argument for pro-choice.
My argument is kind of harsh. I'm I'm awful with just looking at the black community, all the unwanted pregnancies, and we know the stats on, statistically what ends up happening. Not obviously, I know the counter argument that the unwanted pregnancy to the worst conditions that kid could grow up and be president of the United States. Who knows? But statistically speaking, we know what happens a lot of times when there's unwanted pregnancies, and it's kind of harsh, but quality over quantity is probably better. That's definitely better, even though that sounds harsh, but kids born into families is a better situation, better for the community, better for everything and everybody when kids are born into families. So,
But then what about all of the
somebody,
people who would have gotten an abortion, but then once the child was born, they loved the child and raised the child to the best of their ability? What about that?
that is a beautiful thing. And if somebody is pregnant in a less than ideal situation, gives birth in a less than ideal situation, but if they can make the best out of it, that's beautiful. Go for it. Do it. But statistically, we know what happens. So somebody not being able to predict the future, and if the parent, both of them, or one of them, or however the situation is playing out, if there's some incompetence that can be seen from the start, and one person knows they're not ready, or the other person's not there, if somebody doesn't want to bring life into this world, they shouldn't be forced to. Somebody doesn't want to, chances are they're probably not going to be a great parent, even though I do understand that they could potentially raise a wonderful child. And I understand love and emotions. That's why, I'm not for forcing somebody to get an abortion. I'm just saying they shouldn't be forced to give birth.
Okay, so then what about on the other end of it? As a man, let's say, have you ever had intercourse with someone that you did not want to be with for the rest of your life?
Absolutely.
Okay. What were some of the reasons that you didn't want to be with? Just name some of the one of the worst reasons you didn't want to be with, that you had intercourse with a person that you didn't want to be with for the rest of your life.
It probably was just a casual sex situation.
I
Well,
know,
I
but
won't say
what was it
probably.
about that
It was.
person that you did not want to be tied to?
Um, I'm trying to think of a situation where I knew somebody for a good while and was like, absolutely no. But we were having sex. I can. There were some people. There just wasn't a long-term compatibility. Just keeping it real, because we're adults here, and people engage in casual sex with people that they're physically attracted to. I'm guilty of. I won't even say guilty. I do that. I'm in a relationship now, so I'll say I've done that. And
Okay.
so it was a casual sex situation, and I just didn't see long-term compatibility with this person. We just
Okay.
didn't
So let's
connect in all the
say,
long-term ways.
right. So let's say this person became pregnant and you did not want her to have this child, and she was determined to have it. What are your thoughts on that?
Huh. Well, if I didn't want to have the child, I would just ask, is abortion an option? She said no, and then I would have to, step up and I would. Isn't that, that's not even a thing. Like I have custody of my kids that I have now. They were from the marriage. Um, Maybe I run in the best circle, or great circle. I don't know any deadbeat dads. So taking care of your kids, that's 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 like drinking water. So we would just co-parent in a less than ideal situation.
Okay. So let's say this person is psychotic and has a history of mental illness, which can be passed down to your offspring, and she's like, "I'm gonna have this baby." What?
um,
What
if
is?
she's determined to have the baby, I would make sure I got all her. I would try to get as much documented on her as possible for a potential custody battle where I can prove that she's crazy and I can get custody of my child, and I would raise my potentially mentally ill baby with all the love in the world.
Okay. And then, so let's talk about male birth control, right? If there were an option for male birth control where you could ingest a pill each day, and when you ejaculate, there is no sperm inside of your semen, would you do something like that? And it's completely reversible.
You're saying I basically just take a pill every day and I'm basically just sterile for the rest of the day. Just basically like a woman on same as a woman on birth control. Just take a pill every day and you theoretically can't have a baby. That's what you're saying?
Right.
Oh, absolutely. I would right after I brush my teeth, pop the pill in. Yep, absolutely.
Okay. What if this pill happened to give you some bulbous nipples?
You mean like I would start having like some man boobs?
Yeah, it's just a little bulbousness, maybe like just a little bulbousness around the nipples. If by taking this pill, and they were a little tender,
I
they just a bulbous
I
tender nipples.
I'd have to see live examples to know how much of this I could tolerate. But my image that I have in my head when you say that, I'm going to say no. We just going to go back to condoms or female birth control if we're talking about me potentially having sort of like some sort of kind of man boobs or just some nipples that you can see poking out through my shirt when the wind blows.
Mm-hmm.
Just look like
So
it's cold all day. No, no.
so you would rather be shooting fully loaded than to just have some bulbous nipples that are tender.
Well, after my divorce, I'll say yes. I forgot when somebody asks a question, yes or no. You got to answer with a yes, then yes or no, then explain yourself. So yes, but now let me explain. Okay, I would say this is my game plan. After my divorce, I basically figured out that I have to operate this way when I was out single and mingling and dating and having sex with women. It, I was wearing condoms, but if me and somebody got comfortable and close with each other, it got to the point where, eventually, just keeping it real, if y'all having sex for an extended period of time, eventually y'all going to roll over and end up doing it without a condom. That's just reality. So if it got to that point, I would require her to be on birth control. If she said absolutely not, she don't believe in it, she don't like it, it make her head hurt or whatever, then I would just have to keep wearing condoms. So it's either I'm
Okay.
either wearing a condom or requiring birth control. But man boobs from male birth control, no, that ain't happening.
Okay, so you won't go with the bulbous tender nipples. What about if your hair would fall out while you were doing, if you had like the George Jefferson or just a horseshoe, if your hair would just fall out while you were doing it, but once you
Okay,
stopped taking it, your hair would grow back, hopefully.
okay. First things first. The George Jefferson is never an option. If you go bald on the top, you just gotta shave that little C around off too. So I would be rocking a Michael Jordan, not a George Jefferson. So
Okay.
if I look, if I
So
look good with my Montel Williams, I probably would consider rocking that. Yeah,
okay, so you would consider taking a male birth control if it would make your hair fall out while you were doing the male birth control.
possibly. Yes, that's a
Wait a minute, it
possibility.
didn't turn from a yes to a possibly?
I mean, I'm trying to. I've never been bald headed, other than one time when I had to cut my hair and kind of messed it up. I didn't think it looked good, but I would consider it. Yeah, I would consider it.
How,
That's on
how,
the table. That's
how
on the
many
table.
how many people in the audience think he would do it just based on his answer alone? If you think he would do it, put a 1. If you think he wouldn't do it, put a 2. They turning on you, Bernard. They turning on you. They, turn,
I,
they don't think
I'm
you
on
would
my
do
phone.
it. They
I
turn,
can't see on the computer how many ones, how many twos.
they turning on you, man. You haven't gotten that 1. Nobody think that you would do it if you were gonna. Somebody put in about 10 twos. They don't think you would do it, man. They don't think you would go bald in order.
I would
But the
I would
reality of it,
shave it all off and oil up my bald head. It might look good.
it
So
might.
that's that. It might. You don't know if your head shapes funny until you shave it all off.
I
So
know, but the fact that you tried it once and you didn't go back is information
I was a
enough.
lot. I was a lot younger then. I
Mhm.
probably grown into a bald head looking out.
Okay.
Can't
Well,
be 22 with it all shaved though.
just know that okay, so just know that women have a lot of side effects. Ladies, if you've ever used birth control, what are some of the side effects? Type out some of the side effects that you've experienced as a woman from using birth control. What about a reversible vasectomy? Would you do something like that?
Yes.
With the hesitation?
No. I absolutely would do that. I just
Do
like
I
to think before I. I
do I
like to
need to
think
put
before I
this to
speak, but
vote?
I absolutely would do that. I wouldn't want to be the guinea pig, but I mean, as far as I know, vasectomy, that's something I've already considered. So I was planning on doing some research on that anyway.
Yeah,
But
because vasectomies, they tie a little, because there's the area where the sperm comes from and the area where the semen is created. So it's the vas deferens that provides sperm into the semen. So they would just tie like a little loop around the vein to the vas deferens. I think the vas deferens is the vein, and just stop the semen from being populated with sperm. And then when you want to have kids, you just release it, and then you go.
yeah, I mean, I'm for that because right now I'm to the point I don't want to have any more kids. So I've been considering doing that and planning on so I was planning on researching that soon anyway. So yes, so
Okay.
that's definitely a go for me.
All right. So that was one of the things that they wanted to know, that's why is it something that you haven't looked into before?
Um, I don't. I don't know. I really don't have a good answer, but it's something that I definitely will do. Isn't the price something like $1,000 or something for that?
Now we talking
Yeah.
about the
So
cost. How much does a child cost?
no. I'm not saying it's too much. I was just wondering what's the price like.
Hold on.
That's all.
Let me check with my testicles and see how much it costs. Oh my gracious. They're not there. Oh, I don't know. How am I supposed to know how much a
Last I
vasectomy?
last I knew a while ago, it was $1,000. That's what I
Okay.
came to understand.
All right.
But
All right. Well,
but
you know
yeah,
what?
but
Bernard, Thank you for calling in. It sounds like you got put on the hot seat a little bit there, so we appreciate your honesty today. All right?
Thank you.
All right. Thank you for calling in. All right.
Yeah. Bye.
All right. So, I want to hear from the men in the audience. I want to hear from the men in the audience, right? So, listen, men, would you consider taking a male birth control pill if, listen, if you would end up with bulbous nipples that were tender? So, you have these bulbous nipples that are tender. Would you do it? If you're a man, only vote once. And if you would do it, put the number 6. If you would do it. If you would do it, put the number 6. If you would not do it, put the number 8. So I want to see how many men would use the male birth control if you would have just tender bulbous nipples. So listen, men, put a 6 if you would do it. Put a 8 if you would not. Okay? All right? Oh my goodness. I don't see any men voting. I don't see. Okay. So Hebrew is saying he would do it. Jeremy is saying he could do it, but I don't count. Wait. Would love the nipple thing. Oh, okay. So Jane is floored by the tone of the conversation. All right. So there are no men that said that they wouldn't do it. All of the men who are voting says that they would do it. All right. So okay. All right. Well, you know what? Listen, I fully support you in your decision. Remember, this video is sponsored by me. If you go to my website, TonyaTko.com, you can join my mailing list and get yourself a complimentary copy of the Relax MP3. I am a certified clinical hypnotherapist, and on the Relax MP3, you will be able to go into a hypnotic state with guided meditation and be able to relax. You get that MP3 with my compliments when you join my mailing list. Hold on for just one moment, okay?
Okay.
Turn on your computer. All right. So you get that with my compliments when you join my mailing list. That's available on my website. And for those of you who are dealing with issues, if you're having issues with feelings of not being able to forgive a person, I have the Forgive MP3, which is available right now on my website, and it is on sale. So if you go to TonyaTko.com/shop, you can get the Forgive MP3, the Stress Release MP3, as well as the Relax MP3 for joining my mailing list. And that is all available right now, and I will see you all on my website. So thank you for calling. You're on the line live. What's your name?
Hi, this is Dee Dee.
Hi, Dee Dee. Are you pro-choice, pro-life?
I am actually pro-life, and a little bit about my background. I am a critical care registered nurse, African-American female, at 11.
I need you to talk up, okay?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay.
I said that I am pro-life, and a little bit about my background. I am a certified critical care registered nurse at a level 1 trauma hospital in the ICU. And so this plays a little bit into the reason why I'm pro, but not the main reason. But I noticed the gentleman caller, he did say, and like a lot of people say when they mention the pro-choice, or the pro-life, they do make the argument, oh, this person could have grown up to be president. And then the pro-choice is, oh, well, the kids, they grew up in squalor and they can have a bad life and this, and that. But, I would just like to say, seeing the things that I see in healthcare, but like I also mentioned, it's about more than that to me. I feel like that as human beings, we are extraordinary. And I use extraordinary instead of resilient because I feel like that word is, so overused. But, you cannot imagine the things that you are capable of. I know a lot of people like to use those things like, oh, this could have been the president. But, it's about so much more than that. It's about such a deeper level of that. I can't say that this person being molested at 2 is worse than this person being molested at 16 and beat and raped. There are always going to be such horrible things that happen. But this is the nature of life because it's about more than becoming the president or the owner of your own business or the CEO. It's about that mental stability and then that equates to that spiritual stability, about reaching a different level. All of these things I feel are kind of superficial. And I will admit that I thought into this rat race as well. I'm returning to school for my doctorate because I want to receive more money for doing the things that I love. But I also recognize that it's about way more than this. It's about each of us reaching that ultimate level and that awakeness that is not on the black awakeness or the being woke about the president or any of that. All of these things are distractions to pull you away from reaching your ultimate greatness. And so, like I said, I can admit that I am victim of this too, but, let's also just take a minute and understand that this is about more than that. And, I'm trying to do that, but it's hard when you live in this world and you're faced with these things, but I just wanted to give that point of view and perspective.
All right. Well, we appreciate that. Thank you. I
Thank you.
I too believe that the human being is extraordinary, and I believe that we are humans who or spirits who are having a human experience. As you know, I am pro life. I believe in I believe in life having the ability to remain alive. That's what I believe. I don't believe that we should slaughter animals for our food. I don't believe that we should be at war. I don't believe that a cow's life is less valuable than a dog's life. I don't believe that a human life is more valuable than a cow's life. I believe in life. And I also believe that if there is a human being, see, now my issue is attempting to force a human being who does not want to give birth to a particular child. That I am not for attempting to use a woman's body as an incubator for cells that cannot survive without her body and her not having the ability to decide whether or not her own DNA comes into the world in the form of this human. Now, me personally, I don't know how many of you out there know that, but I'm energy sensitive, and sometimes I'll go on Facebook and I'll read tarot for people because I'm able to read energy. I've done several past life regressions, and I've even done pre-birth regressions. And so I believe that there's a much larger picture than what it is that we're seeing, right? And personally, I believe that, like, so me, I am a birth control baby. I am a baby where my mother was using birth control, and I decided that I wanted to be born. My mother died when I was a teenager. I was molested when I was 7, right? However, as a spirit, I decided that I wanted to come into life under the circumstances that I came into this life for, right? Now, I believe in the extraordinariness of humans. However, I also believe that if there's a spirit that wants to be born into this world, I'm sorry, give me 1 second. I'm going to block somebody real quick because there's just too much foolishness happening at the moment. So I believe that if there's a spirit that wants to come into human form to accomplish something, to do something, just like you were talking about, like, so people were saying, Tanya, you're not listening. I was listening. I heard every word that you said. And I believe in the bigger picture as well. And I believe that when a soul wants to be born, that soul will be born, whether that soul comes through Jennifer, Maria, Shanita, Marla, or whomever. I believe that that soul will come through, and if not through one womb, that that soul will find another womb to come in into the circumstances. So if a soul is not able to be born into this particular circumstance, then it'll be like, okay, and it'll find another. But all souls that are meant to be born will be born. It will be born, and I believe that the souls that are not meant to be born, will not. However, I think it's, and I also, me personally, I believe that the abortion is also one of the journeys that a woman goes through. There's a woman who had an abortion, and because of that abortion that she had, she changed her whole life, where she was then able to not take sex and sexuality for granted, to take better care of her body, to travel the world and learn three languages, and then go off to become a fighter for civil rights or human or whatever. And there's some women who the abortion gave them a new lease on life. There's some women who regretted the abortion, and that's also a part of their story. I don't think that anything happens that is not meant to happen. Do you hear what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly.
So it's like, and so my whole thing is, how do we as human beings attempt to impose our will onto another human being about what this human being and the journey that they're going on? You know, for some people, that journey is going to be a back alley abortion with bleach and a wire hanger, where this person ends up dead, and then the journey that her parents go through, and the father of that child, and all of the, and so and then that's part of their journey, and that was many people's journey into what got us to Roe versus Wade. And so I personally believe that what is meant to be, I don't believe that. See, now, I don't believe in human supremacy. I don't believe that a human life is worth more than other life forms. Do you hear what I'm saying?
Yes, ma'am. Mm-hmm.
I believe,
I totally agree.
yeah, I believe that as a human, I believe that as a human being, that we have the ability to come back as many different things. We can come back as a tree. We can come back as an ostrich. We can come back as Jeremiah the bullfrog. And I think that the journey that we're all going through is a lot larger than many of us can conceive. But I think that we get caught up in trying to impose our will onto other people. And so I heard exactly what you said, and I appreciate you calling in. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Bye bye.
Bye-bye.
All right. So I want to thank everybody who called in today. I appreciate you all taking the time to out and have this conversation. I was hoping that this conversation would be the conversation to end all conversations about the debate. And I think I pretty much kind of summed it up towards the end, where we really don't know what a person's journey is. We really don't know how that abortion will change them, how the botched abortion will change them, how the child coming into their life will change them. I know so many. I had an associate, right? He had this business, and he felt that he was better, that his family was better with him dead than alive. And he said that he bought himself a gun that he had at work, and he pulled the gun out of the drawer, and he put the gun to his head. And he said, as plain as I can hear your voice, Tonya, as plain as you and I can hear one another. He said that there was a voice that screamed out and was like, "Stop!" He said he heard it with his own ears, right? And it wasn't meant for him to take his life. It wasn't meant for him to take his life. It was meant for him to continue on. And I personally believe that the people who have those epiphanies, let's say, I mean, you don't really know what it is. The spirit of that fetus, because the energy of the soul of that fetus hangs near the mother's body until it's time to give birth, and then that soul goes into human form. So we don't know whether or not the soul of that fetus has a conversation with the mother, and it's like, you know what? This is what's going to happen once I'm born. We don't know that. I know that when I had my near death experience, I know that I was given premonitions of what my future life would look like. And it was from there because I had the choice of whether I wanted to live or die when I had my near death experience. And I decided that I wanted to live. And I believe that those who are meant to be here will be here, and those who are not will not. All right? So, on that note, remember this video is sponsored by my all natural vitamin E, which I sell once a year. This is what it helps me have my flawless skin where I do not need to have on foundation. And I use that. I sell it once a year, and once I finish taking all of the orders, I ship them out. So make sure then once the orders are closed, they're closed until next year. So make sure that you go over to my website, TonyaTko.com. You can find t-shirts, MP3s to help assist you. If you've had a rough upbringing, if there are people that you need to forgive, I have the Forgive MP3. I'm also working on the MP3 for doing the inner child healing work. And so we're going to be going on a deep hypnotic journey to help you heal that inner child. So make sure that you come over to TonyaTko.com. Go to the shop area on the main page. You'll see the drop down that says shop, or you could just go TonyaTko.com/shop, and you can find different ways to support the show. I hope that you all enjoyed this show. We had a lot of food for thought here today, and I appreciate everyone who called in. I know some of you thought that I was harder on the pro-life people than the pro-choice people. I like asking questions and asking pressing questions, especially when a person seems like they may be speaking hypocrisies. So I appreciate everybody who called in. Make sure that you thumbs up the video. Right now there are 100 people on live. So make sure that you close out the chat area, hit the thumbs up, and then I will see you all in the next video. I'm going to see you all tomorrow when we come out to do our high intensity interval training in the morning. So make sure that you have your bell notifications turned on so that you will know when I am going live. So thank you. Thank you for everybody who came out. We talked a lot. So listen, I'm going to take a poll before we get out of here. We're going to do one last poll, right? If you learned something in this broadcast, I want you to press the number 1. If you have the same feelings, you didn't learn anything, you have the same feelings coming in that you did going out, then I want you to press the number 2. And if you were able to shift your perspective on some things, I want you to press the number 3. So 1 is you learned something, 2 you did not, and 3 you shifted. All right? So let's see what the numbers are. So we have so we have a bunch of 2s. I see. So people came in with their opinion and are leaving with their opinion. I actually made some shifts during this broadcast, and I was able to hear and understand. I feel like I'm screaming for some reason. Let me lower my voice. All right. So I feel like I personally had a shift during this conversation, and I was able to experience a greater sense of empathy for people who are pro-life, and realize that people who are pro-life they're doing it with the best of intentions. There are many people who are operating under religious teachings, and they're doing the very best that they can with the information that they have. And so my heart goes out to people who are hypocritically pro-life, where people who are pro-war and they're also pro forcing a woman to give birth, but then complaining about people being on social services to get help with those births that they brought into the world. So Bree is saying, I learned many people have unresolved control issues. I learned and I shifted a bit. I'm glad that we were able to have these conversations. I have never been able to be in a civil conversation with a person who is pro-life. So like the conversations just get really nasty online. And so I'm happy that I was able to I'm happy that I was able I'm happy that I was able to hear other people's points of views. All right, so I appreciate everybody coming out. Thank you so much. Thank you for thumbing up the video. Thank you, everyone. And so Candace is saying being pro-life plus being pro-war equals the perfect non sequitur. And Jeremiah the bullfrog wants to know who has a lily pad that he can jump on. He's so silly. What are you talking about? Who knows how to grow a garden? So silly. All right. And so, yeah. So there we go. So listen, so thank you all for coming out. Thank you for the conversation. Thank you for the enlightenment. I am, you know what? I'm pro-life. I'm pro-life. I'm pro-life, and I am pro the mother's life as well. And so if that mother decides that for her life it is not the right time for her to give birth, I am pro her life. I am pro animal lives. I am pro the life of this gnat that's flying around by my light right now, which I will not kill. You know, I live out in nature. Those of you, you know, I'm off the grid. So I live out in nature. And I believe that we have to find a way to find balance. So yeah, so I'm pro-life, and I think that we have allowed conservatives I believe that we have allowed conservatives to use the word pro-life to talk about their campaign, but their campaign is not for pro-life because they're also pro-war. And anybody who's pro-war is not pro-life. You know what I mean? And then we have people who want to impose their will upon others. You know, so I'm pro life. There are people who don't really care about the children once the children are born. Then they start laughing. Oh, look at you. You shouldn't have been irresponsible. You know? However, they don't want to offer assistance for these courageous women who decided to give birth. So I am pro quality of life. I am pro life. I am pro taking care of what the ultimate person who's the deciding factor. I am pro her choice and I'm pro her life. Okay? So listen, I will see you all in the video tomorrow. Thank you all for coming out. I appreciate you all for joining in on the conversation. Okay? Tonya TKO, and I'm out. I'll see you all tomorrow. All right. Peace. All right. All right. Thank you all. Have a good night, everybody. Good night. Good night, Candace. Good night, Black Beauty. Good night, Nymeria. Good night, Cherry. Good night, Jeremiah. Your question about who knows how to build a garden? Bullfrog, go on. Good night, Dipped in Indigo. Good night, Miss Marky. Good night, Bree. Good night, Watchmen. Yes, good night. All right, everybody. You see I have so much plant life around me. I'm growing stuff right now as we speak. So I don't know what the issue is. So so somebody's going into timeout as we're closing out the broadcast. Do I know how to grow food? Yes, I'm growing food right now. Yes. So good night, Black Beauty. Good night, Jane Newbie. Good night. Oh, Jane Newbie has a headache. Good night. I hope you feel better tomorrow, Mama. I'm going to be calling it a night myself soon. So I'm going to enjoy that. Good night, Lavinia. Good night, everyone. Good night, good night, good night, good night. Good night. Oh, goodness. I enjoyed this broadcast. I did. So thank you. Good night, Shalom. And I'm okay with the way abortions are done, Shalom. I'm okay with it. I'm okay. I'm okay with a woman removing something from her body that she does not want to bring full term. I'm okay with it. I'm okay. All right. One thing that I'm not okay with trying to force a woman to be an incubator. If this woman does not want to give birth, what are we going to do? Force her to? You cannot force. And I think about this for myself, right? This is my egg. This is my genes. This is the continuation of my family tree. There's nobody out there that can force me. There's no one out there that can force me to give birth to and bring my DNA into this world and give it up for adoption. No. Or force me to join with somebody in my family tree forever and ever, somebody that I don't want to join with. There's no one that can force me to do that. There's no one that can force me to do it. I'm pro-life. I'm pro my life first. So I'm not, you can't force me to do that. You can't. You can't. I would tear half this country down to stop that from happening. You would not be able to force me to go full term on something I did not want to go full term on. You couldn't force me to do it. It would get taken care of one way or another. So it's like you can't force a person who's determined to stop something from happening. You can't force them. The only thing that it's going to do is it's going to bring a lot more abused people into this world. No, I don't shalom if it's that's after the fact. Prevention and it already being a situation are two different things. One, we're not talking about prevention. We're talking about once it is already a reality. You cannot force a person who does not want to bring forth that reality. And nobody's going to tell me that my little Tonya TKO is going to be in some foster home somewhere where I'm not able to make sure that that being is okay. Mm-mm. You couldn't. A lot more abused people, a lot more pain, a lot more just havoc, a lot more havoc. We see what happens with the children who are born who people wanted. Imagine the ones being forced to born that people did not want. Come on. All right, good night, Lavinia. Good night, 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 everyone. I'll see you all tomorrow. All right, peace.